Hello, yes. I think your high always sounds a little
Louder.
lighter,
Lighter.
lighter.
Oh,
And then when you start talking, it becomes normal, yeah.
oh, maybe.
Okay, yes. So today is the fifth, you said this is the fifth session of
This is the fifth
us.
session, yes. Fifth
Okay.
session, yes, us doing together,
Like
yes.
us doing together, yeah. There was one with Shrishti, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, six sessions on the channel now, yeah.
Yeah, sixth
Okay.
session on the channel. And
Yes.
another thing is that I had talked to a couple of brands.
Mm-hmm.
They're basically manufacturers, and then they want to start their own brand. So I'm thinking of hey, today, congratulations, today both of our videos have come. This is, I think, out of some fluke. Sometimes it comes and sometimes it
Okay.
doesn't
For
comes.
the live session, you're saying.
For the live session, yes, both
I
of
think
us
it
are.
just alternates between
I
one day
know.
it is videoless, one day it is both videos. Yeah.
Depends on, yeah, what its mood is. Yeah.
Yes.
So yes. So what I'm going to do is that one of the things that I'm going to do is that I'll upload all the videos, and I also show it to those manufacturers. They said that they're interested, but they've not been giving me the appointments. So
Okay.
I'll make our channel a little look a little better because there's no logo and all of that. I've made a logo. Um,
Hmm.
as of now, whatever that came to me, I've just made. We can look at it later also,
A
and then
little
I'll show
basic.
to them all
Yeah.
of these that we are
Yeah.
talking, all of these, and maybe it'll make sense for them. So that's something that, and these are all manufacturers, and they have their own brand, but
Okay.
they're not concentrated. They manufacture. They're not concentrated much on their brand because
Mm-hmm.
their manufacturing is going on fine. But they always aspire to have their own brand for whatever that they're manufacturing and
Okay.
exporting. They want their own brand. So these are, yeah. So
So
that's
right now they're not retailing in India, they're just
they
exporting.
are retailing in India.
They are retailing in
They
India.
are
Yeah.
retailing in
Yeah.
India, but then they're not concentrating too much. It's there, and it's just there because they want to have their own brand and they want to
Okay.
build a brand, build legacy, and all of that. But they're not concentrating in it.
I
Uh,
think that is the new trend, huh? Like made in India and you're retailing in India. Like when we
yeah.
started, a lot
Hmm.
of products did get manufactured in India, but hardly were retailed in the Indian
Yes.
market. They were just all exported. But I
Exactly.
think
Yeah.
that's the new trend that has caught on,
Yeah, especially because
encouraging.
of e-commerce and post-COVID thing, and e-commerce, and also after Amazon came,
Yeah,
all the manufacturers thought that why not I have my own brand
yeah.
and I can
Otherwise,
put
it
it in
was all
Amazon.
China. Like we were buying everything, every
Yeah,
small thing from China. Though I believe like India has that ability to manufacture most of the things that come out of
that's true.
China. Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
that's
not the same timelines when we were discussing about lead times. Maybe Chinese
true.
lead times might be quicker. But yeah, abilities are there, I think. Yeah.
That's true.
Manufacturing. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes
Mm.
sense. Yes. Why not? Like if they're manufacturing, they have a private, almost a private label or a label under them. I don't know
Yeah,
how
it's a label
detailing
under
it.
them. Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's yeah. They don't have
Okay.
yeah. It's the label under them, and they want to make it like
A
from a
brand
private label, like from a
perspective.
small brand to they want to make it as a pan national brand. I mean, that's the dream, almost for everybody. So
That sounds
that's
exciting though. Like quite an exciting thing. If you're able to manufacture it, I think I mean that's how most of the retailers have been creating their brands. From manufacturing they've gone into.
retailing.
That's what
Yes,
Triumph did. Triumph is like a big manufacturer of lingerie. It like exports and manufactures for brands around the world, but it also has its own
as
brand
own brand,
presence
right?
now. Yeah, but it started as a manufacturer. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
That's interesting.
yeah.
So yeah, so we thought of talking about the
The
retail
products.
product strategy.
Yes,
Um,
the
yes,
retail product strategy. Yes,
yeah,
I think just to keep on track on like if we have to like build a cycle, then this is stage one. We have to talk
and
about.
one thing is that like for a place like India, when they are, which is a manufacturing centric, and they want to start a brand, they have this leverage that they have a manufacturing unit and they want to start.
Mm-hmm.
They the first thing is that they, for a product strategy, they are into product, they're product experts. But the thing is that the product strategy that we are going to talk about is not about the expertise of the product, but actually the expertise in understanding the customer and what product the customer needs. Like, so in manufacturing, if there is a product strategy, they would talk about, how to get the best of the product and how to manufacture, how to set up the lines,
Yeah.
in all of that, and how to get it at the cheapest cost possible, so that they can distribute it to other buyers and all of that, other brands and all of that. But when in retail product strategy, it's one thing that with my past clients I understand is that because they come from that manufacturing background, they almost forget that, they are just so immersed into the making of the product, and they're
Yeah.
obsessed in making the best product. They somehow think that the product is good, therefore it will sell. So that correlation, that bias, or it's a fallacy actually, that if this is true, if X is true, therefore Y will also be
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if my product is one of the best, if I can manufacture to all the big brands in the world, and if this product is not available in India, it means it should sell, right? So that's the thing that they come to, and that's where, like, a retail product strategy, not the manufacturing product strategy, but the retail product strategy, which is understanding the product and understanding that who will buy the product and why they would buy the product, and what makes people intrinsically motivated to buy the product. They'll have to understand the customer first, right? So
Exactly. Yes. Like
yeah,
it is a whole strategy that you put into
yes,
place, and manufacturers could be, supplying to retail. They could be supplying as wholesalers, and
yeah,
then the strategies are completely different. So
yes, yes,
how your
exactly.
product strategy when you're just a manufacturer, your retail strategy, and your if you want to wholesale, your distribution strategy, then like they're completely different. And I think the numbers that you look at are also different.
That's
So
true. Yes.
yes, so I think having a retail product strategy, especially about the manufacturer that you're talking about, like it becomes very important. And even when
Very
you're
important.
managing a category in a business, this is where it starts. Like this is
Yeah.
where your season will start.
Exactly. And when I talk to people that, you need to have good product. Of course, you need to, whatever that you're promising, you need to deliver. But just only having like good products only by selecting the best of the products, say for example, and giving it at a competitive price will make it sell. That's not the only parameter that's there. That could be one of the parameters, because people think that, oh, Mac is good. That's the first thing that everybody says. Hey, Mac is good, but it sells on its own. But that's not true. I mean, people do not know what goes behind like a brand like
Yeah.
Mac. When Steve Jobs used to introduce every of his line, every time he would call all his distributors, he would call all the app developers, because they are their channel partners, right? So he would call all of them, and then he would talk about the product, and he launched the product. And then these app developers and manufacturers, especially app developers, at that time they were all bloggers, the app developers, or they were all
Yeah. Yeah.
content creators also, when apart from developing the app. So they
Okay.
would go and write reviews like, oh, I went to this exclusive event and I saw this product and it is awesome. And they would write reviews, and then that would kick in the SEO, and then actually it becomes like a global phenomena. So
Okay.
it was not
Yeah.
only the good product. In fact, I mean, there is a debate even now that the iPod at that time was inferior than the Walkman, Sony Walkman at that time. But then, because Steve Jobs had this app developers, because he had made already iPod, and they were distributors, and they were the ecosystem which was working with them, because there was app developers, and they wrote good reviews for Mac, because for Sony Walkman, there was no app, or there were no, like, intrinsically somebody wants the product to sell, right? Like, so
Mm-hmm.
they did nobody, I mean, people have to write review, because think about it and write review. But in terms of Mac, because they were developing their own app for Mac, they also wrote review that the Mac was good, and or the iPod or the iPhone was good, whatever the product could be, and then therefore it distributed. So the point here is that it's not just you have a good product, but one needs to have other strategy in place for the product to sell. And eventually, because of all the it's like one of the mentors that I follow in marketing, he says that it's not about having one thing good in marketing, but it's about marketing or marketing strategy. It's about having a lot of things that is above average, that makes the whole strategy become successful. You don't have to be
Yeah.
really good at one thing, but if you're above average in all the points, that's there. Yeah.
Yeah. I think having the right product, a good product, is essential as well, because right now we are talking about a manufacturer who has a good product.
Right.
But if you were a startup, getting that right product in place, that is key. So that's like one big task taken care of. Now, what do you
That's
do
true.
with it? Is what we will be talking under the product strategy. So
Yes.
you have the product. Otherwise, for a startup, there would be like a product development team, like
Right.
experimenting and like getting samples made and then trying to get the product right before all of this can be created. So
That's
then
true.
that just adds up. Maybe like sometimes people just, I think startups need like a year or two to get the product right. So for a manufacturer, an Indian manufacturer, at least the product in this case is ready. All they need is
Yeah.
the strategy now. Yeah.
Right. At least at least the
Yes.
core product is ready, or one of the,
Yes.
like the backbone of that line is already
Otherwise,
ready
like all
for
the
them.
technical people, there's like so much that goes in, like research and experimenting, and then, just testing the product, getting the right thing in hand also takes time.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Makes sense. So the first we were discussing that the first in the product strategy is the market research, right? So probably we can
Yes.
talk a little more about market research um, before we can talk about the next. Maybe we can talk about the next point in the next live
Yes.
video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like yeah, like the positioning of your product in respect to what's happening in the market, the competition that's out there. I think that is a part of the strategy that should be like thought about. And I think that's what market research essentially would mean. You have an idea of like what's out there, the kind of competition that's there, not just in terms of product, but even like brands and what else are they offering, what kind of audience are you targeting. So just understanding your customer, and then where are they, what are their purchasing habits, where are they buying from. I think that becomes quite important when you're
Makes sense.
doing this. Yes. And
Makes
it
sense.
will involve like it can be extensive, it can be if it's like a niche product, maybe there might not be too much to be done, but if it's an existing product, then the research can be quite extensive.
Yeah. So one of my, I just remember that when I would just want to have, whenever I want to tease my bosses, the first thing that I would ask is that who are our customers, and in retail, almost always most of them feel very confused because they really do not know who their customers are, and sometimes
But I,
things.
I feel it is a confused market right now. I think I have always like in my interviews, like I've hated this question when they ask you exactly what is the age of a customer. Because right now when you look at consumers, they're not, I can see like maybe like middle-aged people going and buying from, like at least women buying something like a fashionable piece from a young fashion brand. So
Right.
that those boundaries also blurring.
Right,
So
that's
it's
true.
not very rigid. Maybe like 20 years ago they were that this is only targeted for middle-aged women and only they'll shop from here.
That's true.
And maybe the youngsters are not going into a middle-aged brand and buying, but I think the reverse is happening. Like maybe middle-aged people are shopping from younger, and yeah. I don't know how
Well,
true it is, but they say that millennials are still young. that being a millennial, I think,
Yes,
I
they
don't know
feel
how
that.
true that is, but yes, I think,
Yeah, I think there is this saying, no, the new the 40s is the new 30s, and the 30s is the
yeah.
new 20s.
And the whole idea of like when dress your age, I think that doesn't exist anymore.
Right, yeah, that's,
There
and
was
people
like,
want to
yeah.
dress like 10 years, at least a decade younger than
Yeah, or
their
they
age.
might just pick up pieces which are maybe in trend, maybe not like the trendiest of pieces, but I see like lots of people picking up the similar colors, maybe in a silhouette that's more suited for their body type. But so I think just limiting it to that this brand is only from for teens till 25 or teens till 30. I think it's sometimes a limitation. You have to like try and understand how the kind of I think it's the target audience is more than just the age now.
Mm, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So I remember in the Middle East that I was given a category which was young women's, and which
Hmm.
was on fashion young women's. I had to literally go to every of the young women's store, and I was new to the country, and I did not know anybody. I had to go alone to all of these places, and usually young women's sections are all taken care by women sales executives, and it's a Muslim state, so for obvious reasons. So, and then I have to go there and then take notes and get all the information. One thing that I remember I used to do is that I would put my earphones and I'll behave that I'm on the phone, and I'll be recording the whole conversation. I'll say, hey, do you want, there's this shirt for 100 rupees and 100 dirhams, and do you want to get this, or which color do you like? I would like have
That's a
fake
good
conversations.
strategy. Maybe that should be a part of the market research strategy
Yeah,
that should be
so
like slipped in that
yes,
you can
I had this
yeah,
imaginary
friend.
girl, yes, whom I'm going to buy a merchandise for, and I would actually tell all the cost, all the color, and then I I cannot like sweep the entire shop, right? So, say for example, if there is Bershka, and so I cannot do the entire shop in one go. So there will be a Bershka in one location, and there will be Bershka in another mall. So I would say that, okay, so this store I would only do the tops, and then I'll go to another store, and then I'll only do the bottoms, and another store I'll only do the dress. So I'll have like five different stores for the same brand to
Five
then
Bershkas you would visit
yeah,
for
yes, yes,
different departments. Okay.
yes,
That
yes.
that's
H&M and
also a
all
good
was
strategy. I think all your strategies are quite useful and handy. We
no,
should
but it
add
was very
them.
traumatic. Thing. It was like very,
I can
very traumatic.
imagine. No, I
Yeah,
can
so they
imagine.
would,
Like a, and like I work for a lingerie brand where most of the heads of departments were men. I mean,
yes.
they've never had to like do research, but I imagine the dilemma
Yeah.
any a
Luckily, I
guy
was
would
not in a
face
laundry
doing
department.
lingerie research.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, at least now there is e-commerce, so you can kind of
just go on
check.
the website. Yeah.
Yeah, you can kind of check, and there are apps where you can scrape the entire website and then put it on an Excel sheet, or send it to AI and make an Excel sheet, and the AI might do
Oh
the work.
yes. Oh yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so at least to some extent, you can get the price points from the internet for
Yeah.
certain. I mean, if they are there in e-commerce and all of that.
Yeah.
But at that time, it was like I had to go to every shop and find out where
I
what
think
they
yeah,
had.
that is probably one of the difficult markets to do a market research in. I think
Yeah,
in the UK, like people are quite chill. It doesn't matter. You can just go in. You can spend like an hour there. Nobody will bother you. I
yeah,
think in India, because when we just passed out of our college, retail was pretty new. It was not even organized. I think most of it was. I think 3% was organized retail, and the rest was unorganized. Um, I think there were only a handful of places you could go to, and how many times could you visit it. So if you had to do one brand analysis, you had to show up, or you had to spend that time, and then I think you would see the same faces on the shop floor. So I think doing those research in India back in the day was difficult, but yeah, now with online it's easier.
it's fine,
It's
right? Yeah, it's much better.
yeah, but
It's
I
much
just
better.
wonder because I have seen with a few retailers, which are not just online retailers who have an online presence, they sometimes do not. So they would, the e-com team would buy a certain assortment, which might not be representative of the entire collection. So, um, yeah, I mean, I work for a brand where
Yeah.
the stores would carry a bigger collection than what
Right.
the online
Exactly.
channel would have. Yeah.
Because online sometimes it's not the entire collection. Only the classics is will be there, or
Yeah.
maybe the older collections are there in online.
I mean, it was
So
just treated as a store, like one extra store. The only
yeah,
thing is it's
that's
online
true.
instead of real brick and mortar.
I think even now for fashion brands, you have to go to the shop. The another reason is
Yeah.
that because different stores will have different merchandise, so
Yeah.
you kind of understand what market has. I mean, between the shops also, you kind of understand. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is a little high on fashion. So people, you can also do a catchment area analysis. Like you can also understand that who's going into that area to purchase by visiting the competitor store. That information you will never get it online.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's yeah, so
I
that's
think,
that's
see,
definitely
yes, I think for established retailers, they have an idea of, and there is like a store grading that happens that these are my flagship stores. They will carry the most biggest assortment, and they'll have the maximum representation of fashion merchandise and exclusive
exactly.
lines.
Mm,
And then you have your B and C grade stores, and because that's also based on the data that's available to you.
that's
But
true.
for a startup, yes, that understanding, which falls all under market research, then like,
Yes,
where are
yes,
you opening your shop? Where is this shop going to be? And who is coming and shopping there?
around that area, yes,
Yes, yes. So all of that like becomes a part of this.
very important. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Definitely.
still now, if you want to have like a clear understanding and a much broader perspective of what your competitors are doing, because they're already doing it, they have the data, something must be going right for them, right? So by just studying what merchandise that they're keeping in which store, and which store is big and which store is more crowded, which has more footfalls and all of that, just by understanding all of those things you can derive data. I mean,
Yeah,
you can collect data and derive to some kind of an fair conclusion that where should you place what,
yeah,
or
yeah.
which market you should start your your first shop from. Like one of the brands that I was working with in Chennai, um, the biggest problem that they encountered was that the first store that they started was in the wrong location. So because it was
Yeah.
so sometimes the first your first launch or your first shop becomes like super critical, because it's a make or break operation, because you're very enthusiastic at that time, and you need to have that support from your first execution, right? Like and if the first execution flops, then maybe there's a working capital issue now, because whatever that you've invested in the store is got stuck in the store, you've not got it back for you to start another store. So there
Yeah.
are so the yeah, the first shop, or the first even if it's e-commerce or Amazon, whatever that is, the first launch and the first place is super
Essential.
critical
Yeah. Yeah,
for
it is
your working
critical. Yes,
capital, and
yes.
for
I
all
think,
the
yeah.
for your yeah, for the
I
good.
think then your product being the best or really good is not going to save it. It
Right.
also needs this
Yeah,
to work
yeah.
for
And
it.
therefore, this
Yeah.
product strategy becomes retail
Yeah.
product strategy becomes super important, especially for somebody
Yeah.
who's launching, or
Yeah.
somebody wants to restart. They've not been doing well, and somebody wants to restart. It becomes like super critical that
Yeah.
it better be good, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think that, yes, if you have to open your own shop, like your own retail store, yes, then there are like other parameters that might maybe fall outside of market strategy, uh, like more from a business point of view, that where do you want to, like, how much rent are you happy to pay? Is the shop owned by you? Lots of things. How are you going to man the store? The salaries and the wages, and like the fittings and fixtures, lots of things then have to be thought of.
Right.
But or are you just going to offer your product as a like those shop in shop concepts? Like, if you just have one product line and a really good product line, then just having that representation of your product lines in the right stores,
Yeah.
that is also key. But yeah, like the whole strategy, all of this has to be thought out when you're
Yeah.
launching your line. And in this case, if a manufacturer is just going into retail, then yes, then
That's true.
these are the touch points that should be like
That
ready before you launch the product. But yeah, competition analysis and market analysis, where you're going to have your product, those are quite key. Understanding who exactly are you competing with will give you an idea of, firstly, what are they offering, their product lines, and how does your product sit against those products? Like, what are your product's strengths and weaknesses vis-a-vis the other product lines? Then another thing would be your pricing. So you have to understand the pricing structure. There has to be a pricing strategy as well. Like, what price are you going to position your product at?
right.
So that also comes from how it's offered. Um, and if you have like a full product assortment, I remember like we would always do a count of how many options were offered in a brand in a particular season. So if we walked into a store in January, and we would see how many options they were carrying, we would literally do a count of assortments.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
to understand, like, so if it's a bigger product category, then yes. But like I said, that if it's a niche product, maybe it becomes easy. And then I think the way it's marketed, the way you position your brand is very key. It's important then.
That's
If
true.
it's a niche product that and you've decided that this is the market or this is the mall where I'm going to open my shop in, and you are the only retailer selling that product there, then I think just having the right branding strategy is important.
Yeah. So when we did the competitive analysis, also we just did not compare our products to others. What we also did is we kind of classified them in where they stand in fashion. So we kind of said that okay, this is high on fashion brand, this is middle on fashion, and then
Yeah.
this is more of a core brand. And then after classifying, we also saw that where do we want to keep ourselves as like
Yes.
somewhere between middle to high or above the high on fashion. Where are we keeping? And then we compared all the parameters that you've told. So then
Yeah.
it also gave us some idea that whom do we benchmark ourselves with, and whom do we have to do better than, and such. So also just not blindly. Sometimes people just have this myopic thing of that. Okay, I like this brand, so I want to compete with brand. Rather than that, you just have create a grid or a matrix where you say that okay, so these are all the
Yeah.
people that
Oh,
were
yes.
selling,
Yes. Yeah.
and then where do they want to sell, and what is that they want to sell, and what quality or what value proposition that they have, and what price do they have, and where do, or you can just make like an x-axis, y-axis, and keep position where with
Yeah. I
respect to
think we
price.
we have done those grids. Yes.
Yeah,
Now that
yeah,
you say
yeah.
it, yes. Yeah.
Then
So
our comparison, whatever data
yeah.
that we have, we can somewhere derive to some kind of a conclusion, rather than, because otherwise what happens is when it comes to like startups, and so people have just like a very, they just say that like I want to be like this brand, right? But there are many things that goes
I think
into
that
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 brand.
question arrives when it's a startup and you are still at the product development stage. A
Right.
product has not been created. Once
Yeah.
the product has been created, you know how much approximately it costs, what's the manufacturing cost, and then you have an idea of like what the price point would be. And if it's a
That's
niche, maybe you can like get away with better margins. And then yes, then analyzing like what's out there in the market. Where do they sit? Are they like premium brands or just high street fashion brands or
true.
yeah.
Sometimes your initial excitement of, and I wanted to compete with them, but when you understand the, when you just understand the entire market, then maybe your where do you want to keep your brand, or whom do you want to compete might also change after you get that data, because sometimes when you do not have the data, you kind of make decisions very emotionally. Oh, I like this brand and I want to be like them, or I like this brand, I want to be better than them and sell cheaper than them, or something like that. So I have heard the story that these this couple that we used to meet, They were Avlok's friends, and so they were very excited. They wanted to start an organic brand, and they had already always thought that okay, so
Yeah.
organic honey would they can get the organic honey at a cheaper price, and they can deliver like a pure organic honey and much at a cheaper price. But only so they were very excited because they thought that they can just make it. But when they did the market survey on all the honey that's available and all the quality that how much organic and how much non-organic and how much real honey, how much adulterated and all of that, when they checked, and then when they went back to the supply chain after doing the market research, they understood that they cannot compete on price with the best organic real
Honey.
honey at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
And the guy who's already doing that organic real honey, and I'm saying real honey because most of the honey is adulterated.
Yes. It's like
When
mixed.
they yeah, so they got to understand that they cannot compete. The guy who's doing that, they thought that they're doing fairly good and they want to up them. They understood that they cannot
Compete.
be
Yeah.
better than the guy who's
Yeah.
already doing. They thought that they were okay or good is actually the best in the market, and they cannot up unless they have to pump in, or they have to put their own money into the supply chain, and then they have to hit on the margin and they have to do. So they
Yeah.
kind of backed off from their initial excitement, because sometimes you see certain things and it looks differently, and then you get swayed by I can do it better, and
Yeah.
that's the best that you can do with the
Yeah.
existing supply
Yeah.
chain that you have.
Yeah,
So
that's exactly like if you're at product development stage, the market research will paint a very real picture to you. That this
exactly,
is possible and this is not possible. But if you already have an organic honey in hand and you know that this is what it costs, now it's a matter of how are you going to, who is going to be your where are you
right,
positioning it? Like, what is the store going to feel like? Is it a very premium store where somebody is coming and serving honey to you, or is it just like you go to the shelf and buy it? So that will also determine the price, the kind of experience a customer is getting walking
that's
into a
true.
store. Which
Yeah,
I think
that's
a
true.
lot
That's
of
true.
times flagship stores, because they carry exclusive collections for a fashion retailer, they would have a different experience.
That's
Like they
true.
would
That's true.
feel really nice walking into that store. You feel that premiumness, even if it's just a fashion retailer, not a luxury brand. But they tend to give you a different experience than walking into a, let's say it's a flagship store is an A grade store and then you have a C grade store. So there would be a different uh,
Yeah, yeah. This is starting
experience
to
that the customer would feel. But and they're buying exactly the same product.
product.
Or
Yeah,
maybe there are more exclusive lines available here, but there would be similar products as well. So I think maybe
exactly.
that also determines it. The
Yes.
packaging of the product, and how special the customer in the end feels that I have actually bought, like I know exactly what's gone into my honey and what I'm putting in my body. Maybe all that also matters.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, but if you have a product ready, maybe that part is taken care of. That part is taken care of. Now it's just a matter of what all can you provide alongside. Firstly, like where are you going to retail it? Your distribution strategy, if there is any. Is it an online product? Is it going to be like an experiential one where customers come? For example, like I would, as a consumer, like as a customer, I would never buy footwear online. I want to like try on the footwear and see how
Right.
it feels. So online, it
Exactly.
could say anything.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, now that everything is online, like the convenience of shopping online, I might like wear it and like send it back. But yeah, for footwear, I will always walk into a store and buy it.
Yeah, because yeah, sometimes there are certain other tactile decision. I mean, we need some tactile data for to make decisions. Like I would never buy. Like it's for me, not never buy, but I have bought. But it's for me, it's very difficult to buy a bag online because I'll want to know
The
the
functionalities, you
finish.
want to
Yeah,
feel
or
it, wear it,
yeah,
or
exactly. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And I also
Oh
want to
yes,
know
I think I
the
never thought of
finish or
that.
the texture
It could be
before
different for
making
everyone.
before
So again,
making.
like what the kind of product that you're offering, like what is the customer's requirement at the point of purchase? Do they want to feel it or are they happy having it online? That would
Yeah,
also determine. like in today's time.
And also when you do market research, usually what happens is when people start, the quickest conclusion that people make is that I will do well because I can make a better quality than this product in the
Yeah.
market at a cheaper price. So that's the only straight parameter
Oh,
that
okay.
people, that's another bias that people have, that if I can do better product than this and if I can charge lesser, then everybody's going to come to me or something like that. So they have that
Okay.
fallacy. But when you do the market research, then you understand that it's just not the, like how you said, that it's only not the price that you can concentrate on in the market. When you actually see, then you can say, okay, I can make this product, but then price is going to be the same, but then I'm going to make it better on experience, and or some other make it better on how people feel when they come to purchase, or how people feel when they possess that brand or that product, right? So it's sometimes you get to understand the nuance in the USP only through market research. Otherwise you just always, the mind just makes a flat conversation that if I can just sell the same product at a cheaper price or a better product at the cheaper, that's what most of the manufacturer centric, and then they would always think that, hey, I'm making the best product in India. It's this product is not available, and if I can make it in large quantities, therefore I can cut down costs. And if I can
Yeah.
sell this very very good product, export quality product, and if I can just sell it at a cheaper price, which I can, I will be able to, that's going to be a good launch.
Yeah. I
But
think, yeah,
sometimes,
yeah. I think also over here, I feel that sometimes pricing, yes, but that's not the only thing. Like just pricing your product like a little slightly under a competitor is not guaranteeing sales.
yeah, anything, yeah.
Um, but sometimes I think,
Because that's sometimes that's not what the customer wants. The customer is okay to pay the price, but they want something else out of the
yeah.
product, right? So
And sometimes I've also seen that maybe certain buyers, which was true in like the case I was telling you about yesterday, that the kurta buyer, like she had such a vision for her category that she's
right,
literally dressed up Indians in the kurtas that she envisioned, that
right, that's true.
these are the prints and styles and cuts for the season, and people trusted her, and she built not just the category, like year on year it was like profitable, but even the vendor grew with the retailer
That's true.
in that case. But a lot of times, I think maybe, somebody can be like too overconfident that I have curated this collection. My
Yes,
collection is really exclusive. I think then
and
the
then,
talk about exclusivity, like how is it exclusive? How is it that what you are selling is different? That differentiation also falls under here, I think,
yes, of course,
which
yes.
should be
When you
spoken
do
about
market
then.
research, that's when you understand
Yeah, yeah,
what is the
that
differentiation
it
that you
looks the
make.
same, but the fabric wash after wash is like more durable. Or maybe it's
Right.
like sustainability is another thing that people are more conscious of
Yeah.
these days. They just
It's
don't
it's
want to.
about, yeah, it's
Yeah.
about the differentiation, and whether whether that matters to your customer, right? That differentiation, like say for example, you told about the kurta, maybe
Yeah.
she was able to do that differentiation that mattered to the Indian
I think after a
working women or
point,
to
there was
Indian
this
women.
trust on the brand that
Yeah,
if we
yeah,
go here and we pick up a kurta, it is going to give us the same service that it did last season. So
yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
going to go grab four of them that I like, and I'm
yeah,
done for the season.
yeah. That's yeah.
So I think that that's what was happening. And it was
Hmm.
like a absolutely loved category. I think I haven't come across any other category that was so successful. Where otherwise, once you hit your numbers this year, then it is difficult to grow the category. There are those threshold points that you can't
Somewhere
grow
it
beyond.
saturates.
Yeah, yeah. And then she was very clear on that these are my price points. This is what where the product will sit. If it has some additional features, this is where it is. If it's very plain and basic, this is where it is. So the customer would walk in knowing exactly what they would find.
What they want, yeah. That's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. And I think, yeah, so the pricing is important. Any differentiation markers vis-a-vis the customers, they need to be maybe understood or, yeah, called out. What else would you do in a market research? Understanding of competition.
Yeah.
So even if you're
And
selling like a top, And there are like premium retailers, and there are like some high street retailers which offer it. You still have to have an understanding, because your customer can, um, it maybe like instead of on that particular day, instead of buying like four tops, they decide, okay, let me just put my money into one and get a high quality product, and then buy something more expensive. So you still need to have an understanding of what competition is, and then but you benchmark where you said you need
Yeah,
to have that.
exactly.
Benchmarking needs to be done correctly.
Yeah, done correctly. And then you benchmarking also involves the nuance of price and experience and
Yeah, yeah,
product quality, durability, also understanding whether all of these matters for your customer. If it doesn't matters, then the differentiation is of no use, right? So all of
yeah,
these parameters that we are comparing on should matter to our customer, and then only it becomes an effective product strategy.
yeah. Because I
Yeah.
think a lot of premium, like wherever whoever's charging more price, a premium price for a product, I think they have probably tested the market. They have a standing. It's a known brand. They've put years into building that brand. There's a goodwill behind it,
Yeah.
and certain expectations. So I think that's exactly what would happen with this kurta department, at least, that they would just buy it blindly, and then they would be happy to pay that money. But if you're trying to like build another kurta brand and just benchmark it against this, I think it would either take time, or you have to meet exactly the requirements that this is fulfilling.
Yeah, and it will take time, of course, for building your own brand if you're
Yeah,
just
yeah,
trying to compete with something which was already very strong.
yeah,
Yeah, so some more research has to happen, and then we have to find, okay, so this is the they are catering to this big target market, but then there is one small niche that the same set of TG or the same set of women are also buying some more kurtis for a particular occasion, and maybe I can only in and then that segment, this big brand is not totally focusing, so I'm going to focus on that segment, that micro niche, and then you can expand on that micro niche and then compete with this big brand, so that you get that the same walk in into your store, and eventually you can grow your category and then
yeah,
become the
yeah,
competitor. So
yeah,
somewhere we'll have to start with like start with finding the, the
yeah,
where you can enter, and then you can
yeah,
slowly
yeah,
capture
yeah,
the market.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think for established retailers, when you're creating your buying plan, which with or you're looking at your product strategy, I think when you have when you have different stores, you have an understanding of that my A store will need, let's say, 100 options. My B
Right.
store just will be happy with 50 options, and this will be happy with 30 options. So, in your product strategy, you're literally determining what the distribution would look like if you have a few products in hand. Like,
Right.
where are you sending it, and how much would you need? Yeah.
That's true. That makes sense. Yeah. Is there anything else about that we did not cover?
In the product strategy, in the market research, like I said, it can be extensive. It can be, if it's a niche product, then it's more about how you're positioning the product and where you're launching it. Um,
Yeah.
but yes, I think that groundwork has to be done.
None. Yeah.
And then you understand that if you have a product assortment, where are the gaps? And you found a benchmark, that this is the benchmark competition competitor brand, then you can see if there are any misses, gaps in your product line, that they are offering more color, or they're offering different price points, or they have their opening price point here, which seems like is a volume generating line. So I think once the benchmark is determined, then a lot of decision making can happen.
Happen. Yeah. Makes
Yeah.
sense. That's true. Yeah. So tomorrow or the next session, when what do we talk about? We can talk about. We also talked about a little bit about today market research and
Bench.
how to find your value proposition, how to find
Yeah. Yeah.
your own niche. We can talk about what products that people need to offer, or the pricing strategy, like how we can talk about width and depth, how they can, what are the strategies that they can take in terms of
Yeah,
how wide
yeah.
they can go or how deep they can go.
I think
uh,
yes, we can talk about that. I'm only thinking that because there are like so many products that can be offered. I think everything sits under a certain category. Maybe like FMCG is so different. Hard goods, any furnishing, like home stuff, is retailed and sold in a different way. And fashion products like apparel is different. Maybe like in respect to those categories, we could talk
speak.
about. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, we can do that. Yeah, cool, Snigdha, I think.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, I think yeah, that's quite a long session today.
Yes. I think, yeah.
Yeah.
When I started, I thought I have nothing much to talk, and I don't know how I'm going to talk for. And then we have like, I think today is the longest.
I think it's like a worth it exercise. Like once you have an established retailer, but you're trying to introduce a new line, then this whole thing comes into play again.
Yeah,
But if
exactly.
you're a startup, you have to do this work. This is a
Yeah,
very important then.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, cool.
All right.
Bye bye.
Okay. Bye bye.